I just wanted to make a quick disclaimer. This video is just primarily speculation, and good portions of this video are me primarily just asking questions and making assumptions as to why something like this happens. I am not a credible source on this matter. I'm just providing some sort of input because I wanted to talk about it. So for those of you who are coordinated with the online world, you already know of this information, but around February 13th of this year, YouTuber Twomad, whose real name is Mudaya Sadiq, passed away at the age of 23. Now, like a good majority of the internet, I've known about Twomad since around 2019. And when I first heard of him through that Goodnight Girl meme, I was surprised to find out that we were the same age. He was born in December, I was born in May, so he's a little younger than me. He was actually one of the newer content creators that made me realize that the newer generation of content creators that were up and coming within the YouTube sphere were starting to become around my age, and even now there are still younger creators that are on the rise. Like YouTubers that I look up to right now, like Jay Schlatt or Ted Nivison, they're only like a year older than me. Like Jay Schlatt is literally 7 months older than me. I always found it very odd, or it's not something that really sank in yet. On the topic of Twomad, during that period up until this point, every area and video of the internet that I would see him through, I would see this guy shitposting and making ironic over-the-top videos, and I'm sure over the pandemic you've seen him doing those videos where he just goes through Zoom calls and starts rating different classrooms when people give him the codes. Very odd time. And coincidentally, unfortunately, back in 2019 when I first saw him, I always described him as if a person was Etika in terms of their comedic chaos, but multiplied by 4. Now, throughout his 4 to 5 year span on the internet, his character was primarily placed within this box. He was always viewed on the internet from this specific position as a sort of funny man on the internet that would lean way too hard into irony, that you weren't sure if they were being serious or not. And unfortunately for him, this was to a detrimental fault. For the past few months, allegations and evidence have been shown and reported that have been associated with Twomad. Many that I do not want to go into great detail for, but many have, as I said before, been proven to be legitimate. And this went on well up until even after his death. Now, I just want to clarify, it's common sense to say that should many of these are real and many of these were proven, then it's not something that I or any sane person condones. These are horrible instances, and Twomad has done almost nothing to address these issues. Instead, painting it over a veil with more ironic memes and shitposts, he's basically just layering on irony that you can't really tell whether his responses to certain allegations are legitimate or if he's just building on another joke. It was very hard to decipher. But a part of me is still a little bit upset because he's gone and he died so young. He was 23. He was the same age as me. And sorry about this, but selfishly, I'm just going to put myself in this position. That could have been somebody I knew. Given that he was born in December, that would be like if I died in July of 2023 or something. I don't want to think about that, but that's how time follows chronologically. It's almost like when you look at a famous person who died so young and you find that you lived more days or minutes than they had when they had passed away. Regardless of who it is, seeing them as a figure who has been around in the public consciousness for so long can often minimize the fact that they were human beings, and that you're surpassing the extra time that they're just going to never see. I don't know. Even as a kid, I've always thought about stuff like that. It's pretty upsetting. Now, this channel primarily covers public health topics or just topics of prevention. So in this specific context, what exactly led to this? What exactly led to Twomad's downward spiral? People are often saying that it is similar to an Etika situation. And is it? For me personally, not really. For me, I feel like that Etika didn't really do bad things because a lot of the instances and controversies that arose near the end of his life were due to his deteriorating mental state. And unfortunately, in that period, people didn't understand or know how to handle a person in that episode. Unfortunately, I don't want to look back on it, but you would see a lot of people just, putting clown emojis or minimizing the importance of mental health or just his mental state because they'd constantly egg him on, and he didn't know how to deal with that. And unfortunately, even though he did have help, it wasn't enough. It was always so upsetting to see the possibility that the people who clowned on him and berated him suddenly turned around and started sharing condolences when they contributed to the problem. It was very upsetting to see. It was disgusting to see. Now, hopefully, within that 4-month period of time, because it has been 4 years since Etika passed away, that we would think that by the time of when we first observed Twomad's deteriorating mental state, that people were possibly starting to become more aware of it. And although some did want to help, it was very hard to sympathize with him given that he was notorious online. So again, what led to Twomad's spiral? People are saying that it started from around the pandemic from 2020 to 2021. And this is just speculation, but was this due to harassment? Did he, like Attica, sort of put himself in a box, and did it get to him that people couldn't take him seriously? And were all the allegations made against him getting to his mental psyche that exacerbated even more undesirable behavior? Or was it something else? So I'm just grabbing from different sources, and I don't know how credible these are, but a lot of what I'm seeing tend to be within this sort of ballpark, in that apparently Twomad used ketamine. And I'm not going to watch this, but apparently Twomad, even in the past, before his death, had talked about his ketamine usage. And for those of you who are unsure of what ketamine does, I'll show you. Now, people may have heard of ketamine due to just general memes that have been floating around, but for those of you who don't know, it is an anesthetic. It's used for treatment as depression and pain management. However, it also has hallucinogenic effects and could sort of lead to some sort of psychosis. If you overdose on ketamine, this can cause unconsciousness and dangerously slowed breathing, and it is suspected that Twomad did die from overdosing on ketamine. Now, as I'm talking about this, a lot of information has come up since Twomad's death, which suggests a lot of unsightly things that he's done to other people. He has endangered those around him and friends and roommates close to him. And it's just unfortunate that his legacy has been forever stained, that he sort of put himself in this state, and that he had to commit acts that would lead him down a direction that he would not be able to take back. Again, please just take this video with a grain of salt. I have no conclusive evidence. This is just speculation, and it's still too early of an event to come to any conclusions as well. I just wanted to get my 2 cents in there because a part of this bothered me. Yes, he did a lot of awful, horrible things and should obviously be called out and scorned for it, but at the same time, I don't know, he was only 23. If he got the right resources, which might have been difficult, I'm sure he would have gotten some help. And a part of me feels like he could have learned from his actions, because again, he was so young, and all of his mistakes were regrets that he deservedly would have had to sit on for the rest of his life, if he was still here. But it's too late, and nothing can be changed. Now, regardless of what Twomad has done, I send my condolences to his family. Losing a son, or a sibling, or a family member so young is never easy. It's just so uncomfortable and unnerving, because we're the same age. That could have been somebody I knew. This is just sort of as Inferno Omni said, that this is a situation that just sort of leaves you thinking in silence and knocks the wind out of you. You just have to sit there and let it sink in, because nobody really expected this. But I just want to hear a discussion. Again, I'm not well versed in this. I just wanted to give my 2 cents in certain areas. But what do you think? We can create a discussion down below on, do you think that there was a chance for Twomad to redeem himself, given that he was so young. Deservedly, of course, he would have had to sit on his mistakes. Or were there other events that have since come out and you find it hard to sympathize with him? Again, there's no really right answer. It's a sort of gray area. I don't know. I know that there's probably a group of people who, in one sense, wanted him to get the necessary help that he deserves. But I know that we're all in agreement in that whatever mistakes he did make, should he have been, I don't know, rehabilitated or helped, he deservedly would have had to sit on. But again, this is all just speculation and nobody really knows what could have happened. Again, let me know down below what you think. I'll see you next time.